echo my colleagues' comments in regards to greater sage grouse and the prairie chicken. We've got the overlapping regulatory issues that are certainly coming in, and we'd like to hear that as well. It is of great concern. Would like to thank our panelists for taking the time to be able to be here today. And all of your respective agencies, do you comply with the Regulatory Flexibility Act and consider the potential negative effects that new regulations have on businesses? We can just go down the line.
We certainly do, and we also try and consider very much the cumulative effect that potential rules and regulations have. It is a very big part of our review process, and we really do try and do the math on it and make sure that we're reducing the burdens as best we can.
Right, Ms. Hewlett?
I would say as well, we take it very seriously. We have the Office of Advocacy within the SBA. We work very closely with the Office of Advocacy of what they're hearing and inform our decisions.
Ms. Cook?
Yeah, I would agree with that. We're looking on the regulatory side, both at making it easier to find the rules and comply with the rules through electronic permitting and certification. We're also trying to reduce the paperwork burden for our financial and technical assistance programs as well.
Great. So we have unanimous agreement that we're striving to be able to reduce that. And I would like to go back to some of the previous questions that have been asked. We have the evidence that has come to this committee that we're spending $10,585 per employee for small businesses to be able to comply. Understand that we have the 10-year review process. We have the executive order from the president. And does this remind you a little bit of being on a treadmill? We run in place. We don't really reduce any regulations. Can you point to me, going to the point of the hefty manuals as an example, and I'm not trying to be mean-spirited on that because you have to try and comply, but how many rules, how many regulations over the last decade have we pulled back compared to how many we have added?
Yeah, I admit I think we've pulled back very few. And again, as I was saying, one of our agencies, I think one that gives this committee some frustration, last year Congress has tasked them with another, I think it's about 30 new rulemaking. So even if we could pull a couple back, there's no question in terms of the net number, it is increasing. But I guess my plea would be the agencies have their role to play, but Congress, the NTSB, there are a lot of different entities involved in the sort of the rulemaking structure that we have in place. It's not just something agencies can unilaterally repair.
Let me ask just kind of a general question that many of us have discussed here. Would it be useful before your rules go final to bring them back to the authoritative committees for approval?
Well, that's a good question.
Would you agree to that?
It's probably not up to me to agree to it. I think that's something Congress could tell us to do anytime.
Director Jackson of the EPA just told me no. She didn't want to be able to come back. Oh. Don't you think, because you're doing interpretation, effectively, of legislative intent.
Correct.
Which may lead the agencies to be making determinations which, in fact, may not comply with legislative intent. So wouldn't it be a good common sense proposal to be able to bring those back to the committees and say, we agree with you or we disagree with you in these areas to be able to help you achieve the goal that you're aspiring to?
Yeah, I would have only two thoughts on that. I mean, one is, as we do our rulemakings, we're involved in the Administrative Procedures Act, which again is a lot of congressionally mandated steps. So in terms of when we can go back to Congress and what you can tell us to do, believe us or not, I would like to consult the legislative framework that we work under. I would also say that we frequently in the agencies go back to Congress to try and get congressional intent. I would point out, let's look now, we have a divided Congress. Sometimes congressional intent can be not as easy to divine as you might hope. And, and this committee is charged with reducing, one of the things you're looking at is reducing regulatory burdens in small businesses. Our authorizing committees, who are the ones who give us a lot of our regulations, they're meanwhile very much urging us to hurry up and start doing these rulemakings. So sometimes congressional intent can be complicated, even contradictory, but I understand the spirit of what you wish we could do, which is in the end produce a product that those in Congress who wanted us to produce it feel achieved their ends.
Well, one we can give you a little bit of insight, or at least from my perspective, we'd had the rules that were coming out of Department of Transportation, out of the EPA, in terms of light trucks, which is going to be another, $8.8 billion in terms of costs that are going to be associated. This is harmful when we're struggling to be able to create jobs. And the goal, in my sense, right now, when we have massive unemployment in rural America, we have a struggling economy with only pockets of prosperity in this nation right now. It's not to add on more burden, more regulatory authority, but to be reducing this and to unleash American entrepreneurialism. So, and my time's expired, Mr. Chairman. I yield back. Thank you, ladies.